Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. If you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So lots of transfer news here to give you an update on, but the first topic of the development I'm going to keep you up to date on is in regards to De Ligt. So now reports do currently say that Manchester United are still fighting hard to try and currently sign De Ligt. We do know De Ligt has attracted interest from a number of clubs, including my club Manchester United. Obviously City have also been interesting, Liverpool have been interested in, but we do know Barcelona are monster, the favourites, to get the pursuit of De Ligt, because I think he has made an admission as De Ligt that his preferred destination, would be Barcelona, and I think he wants to reunite with his current teammate Frankie De Jong. But we do know, obviously, De Ligt is going to be leaving Ajax. He's still got a hell of a lot of development in him as De Ligt. He's only 19 years of age. I think he's initially valued at around £65 million, so he wouldn't have to break the world transfer record, to get a deal over the line for him. But I think, when De Ligt moves, it's going to take his career to the next level, of course. But obviously, reflecting back, quite a few weeks back, Edwin van der Sar, who's currently the CEO of Ajax, he came out and said he was convinced that De Ligt's going to depart Ajax this summer, and he did. Edwin van der Sar thinks he'll either move to England or he'll move to Spain, so that's why he probably, will be applying his trade next season. But realistically, it's looking likely, he will be going to Spain, with Barcelona with De Ligt. But I really like him. He holds his line very, very well, very, very tall as well. He's a great leader, and I'd love him, to come to Manchester United. Obviously, we know so far he has spent the entirety of his career with Ajax, of course. Being an Ajax player, since the age of 9 and progressing up the ranks, fantastically well. And now he's had 3 years worth of experience in Ajax's first team as De Ligt, and he's been an integral part of their team. But he can leave Ajax on a high, can De Ligt obviously winning the domestic double with them this season, including the Eredivisie title, for the first time in 5 years. Also, progressing them to Champions League semi-final. So it is confirmed that De Ligt is going to be leaving, but Manchester United are still trying, are still working very, very hard, to try and convince him, to come to Manchester United. But I think from his own preference, he wants to currently make the move to Barcelona. But obviously, we need a couple of central defenders. I do believe, we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline. I do believe that, De Ligt would be the current right solution. De Ligt's the only defender as well, to win the Golden Boy Award. Obviously, De Ligt, I think De Ligt actually, became more of a first team starter. It's when Davinson Sanchez, departed Ajax, back in 2017 to Tottenham. But Ajax have got a great young squad. But I think the main factor reason why De Ligt wants to go to Barcelona, because I think he wants to reunite with his teammate Frankie De Jong. As obviously, Barcelona have obviously already agreed to fee with Ajax, to get Frankie De Jong. I think it's around £75 million that had been agreed. So obviously Barcelona have got Frankie De Jong. At Barcelona, I've got currently Frankie De Jong, but I think Liverpool have obviously expressed their interest in De Ligt, and I think the main factor reason why Liverpool has showed their interest, because obviously Virgil van Dijk and De Ligt know each other really, really well. They're both Dutch, they're both playing the Netherlands national team, of course, and this is why I think Liverpool have been interested in the player. But I think now it did initially say that Liverpool have opted out of the race, because I think Liverpool realise now they don't really need a central defender. Obviously they got Virgil van Dijk, 75 million. He's addressed their defensive deficiencies, fantastically well. And Liverpool have had him they've had him since January 2018, and he's done fantastic for Liverpool. They've also got the likes of Joe Matip there, they've got Joe Gomez there, so Liverpool don't even need a centre-back. It's my club Manchester United that do need a central defender. But I'd love De Ligt, to come in, but I think he's still going to be making the move to Barcelona. But he's still saying, according to the media, Manchester United are still fighting very, very hard, to try and sign De Ligt. But he's definitely going to be leaving, but I think he will be going to Barcelona. But as I did say, I would still prefer, the likes of Koulibaly. I'd love Koulibaly, to come to Manchester United, of course, and I'd love him, to come and experience these facilities, of course, and I think he'd tie it up very, very well in the Premier League. He's still got a lot of development in him as Koulibaly. He's highly experienced now. He's 27, nearly 28 years of age. And he's got everything. He's got all the capabilities. He's got all the attributes, to succeed in the Premier League. But we do know Manchester United would have to break the world transfer record to have any chances of getting a deal over the line for him. Reports came out from Italy a couple of days back, saying that Manchester United had a £95 million bid turned down for Koulibaly. But obviously we were heavily linked with Koulibaly last year. Obviously the process did start under Jose Mourinho, but obviously we didn't get his number one priority targets last summer, because obviously the board weren't backing the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend in. Obviously our priority was to get a centre back last summer. But I think we had 3 bids turned down for Koulibaly last year, and I think we also had a £95 million bid turned down for him last year. Recently Carlo Carlo Ancelotti came out and regarded Koulibaly as one of the best centre-backs in the world. But he has been at Napoli 5 seasons, so he's had years worth of experience in Italy with Napoli, and he's done really, really well. I think he's made over 200 odd appearances in all competitions. He has got a contract with them until 2023, but he has been on Manchester United's agenda for some time, and obviously now we've identified him as our number one summer target, of course. But I think if we had any chance of getting off him, we'd have to come up with a bid of around 120 or 130 million pounds for Koulibaly. But I don't really see us, to be quite honest with you guys, I don't really see us, willing to pay that much for the central defender. This is why we try to convince, by putting a bidding of around 90 odd million to try and convince, Napoli to currently sanction off. But reportedly, this had been currently turned down. And I do believe we need a world-class central defender. We haven't had one, since we had the likes of Vidic, since we had the likes of Ferdinand. We have not had a world-class central defender. And, we conceded 54 goals in the Premier League this season. So that just emphasises, how bad we are defensively, of course. So we've got to resolve this problem in the summer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said he wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club. Obviously, we are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear-out. Obviously, all the players, that we do currently, all the players, that we do want to leave Manchester United. Obviously, we're not going to be able to address this problem in one window. It's going to take a couple of windows to currently resolve that problem. As I said, the spending spree is going to be £250 million. We are currently going to get to spend. But if we can cash in for likes of where we cash in for likes of Lukaku and that, it will help us with our rebuilding process, and it will help us with our transition. But I think it's going to be difficult for us, to attract players to the highest level because we're not in a Champions League football for next season, of course. And but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has worked out his transfer strategy for this summer, and he wants to bring a number of young players, that can come in, grow, develop, and emulate in superstars. So he does want to bring a number of young players in, and he's not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club. And some people have maybe said, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because there's a lot of players on our agenda that are available for a reasonable figure, of course. So maybe we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because we've got to get the right recruitment this summer, because analysing our recruitment policy is extremely very, very poor. But we are lacking in quite a few areas, and you can see the deficiencies in the squad. We need a right back, we need 2 central defenders, we need 3 new additions in that midfield if Pogba leaves. We need a winger, we need a striker, especially if Lukaku leaves. I think the left hand side would okay on that left hand side. If De Gea leaves as well, we're going to need a replacement for him in goal. So we need a massive overhaul this summer, of course. So yeah, the big breaking news about him, Man United is still working very, very hard, to try and get a deal over the line for him. But I think from his own perspective, he wants to currently make the move to Barcelona, of course. And there has been other central defenders on Manchester United's agenda, as you all know. We do know there's been talks of Toby Alderweireld, but I don't think Man United are intending on bringing Toby Alderweireld in. Looking at it from a financial point of view, he is available for a reasonable figure, £25 million. Has had a number of years now of experience in the Premier League, under his belt, but he's aging up now. He's Alderweireld, he's 30 years of age. I've got reservations about him. He has lost that yard of pace, but I think he probably will be leaving Tottenham, because he's blatantly refused to sign a new contract with them. But I don't think we'll be getting Toby Alderweireld in. And there's been a lot of talks going on about Leicester City's Harry Maguire from Leicester City. Now reportedly Manchester City have identified Harry Maguire as their number 1 target, to currently replace Vincent Kompany. Obviously Vincent Kompany has obviously left Man City after serving 11 years with the club. Obviously now he's a player manager at Anderlecht, Vincent Kompany. And now reportedly, City have identified Harry Maguire as a potential replacement. He did say initially City may have to pay a world transfer record fee, to get a deal over the line for Harry Maguire. Obviously he has been a Manchester United target as well as Harry Maguire. I won't put Harry Maguire in in the same calibre level as a Koulibaly or a Rafael Varane, but he's still very, very good. Maguire is tall as well, which is very, very beneficial. 26 years of age, he's in his prime, still has got a lot of years ahead of him is Harry Maguire. And obviously, he's done very, very well with Leicester. I really, really like Harry Maguire. He's got a contract with them till 2023. He signed his new long-term contract last summer, did Harry Maguire. But I think Man United were actually linked with him last summer, so Man United have been long admirers of the player. But I think he was previously valued at around, was it 70 or 80 million pounds, Harry Maguire. And I don't think he's really worth that, to be quite honest, because he's not a Virgil van Dijk. As I said, he's not a Koulibaly, he's not a Rafael Varane. but he did say City may have to pay a world transfer record for him. Don't get me wrong, City have got the financial power, of course, to meet his valuation. Obviously, Harry Maguire, the more attractive option out of us and City, would be Manchester City, for Harry Maguire. Maybe I think Harry Maguire was talking about a while back, about playing in Champions League football, going to a team that's competitive, going to a team that can win trophies, of course, and obviously, he's not going to experience this with Leicester City, so maybe Harry Maguire may consider taking his career to the next level, but I think Leicester are reluctant to currently let him go, but there has been a lot of talks about him going on. So City have got a few defenders now on their agenda, who could replace Vincent Kompany. So the Licht's been on their agenda, Harry Maguire has been on their agenda, so obviously City are obviously looking for the replacement of Vincent Kompany. Big breaking news, guys, to update you on in regards to David De Gea. Now, reports are coming out saying that reportedly we've had a final contract offer turned down, reportedly. So we put another contract offer in, and reportedly this has currently been rejected by David De Gea. So now I think his future has been clarified, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, and I think he's going to be leaving the club, is David De Gea, because I think he's blatantly made it clear that he will not be signing a new contract with Manchester United. So reportedly we have had a final contract offer turned down. So I think this means David De Gea is going to be departing the club. Reportedly, David De Gea now is demanding that he wants around £350,000 a week if he is to sign a new contract with the club, if he is to commit his long-term future with the club. But reportedly, Manchester United are not willing to meet his current wage demands. And Manchester United have been in negotiations trying to get David De Gea a new contract now for at least about 18 months. So we've not yet, come to an agreement to get him a new contract. I think now reports do say that PSG are willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. PSG are preparing to put a bid in for him of around £60 million, because obviously the £350,000 a week De Gea is demanding, PSG of course are willing to meet them figures. So I think he's going to be going to Paris Saint-Germain, is David De Gea. But as I did say, obviously would want to cash in for him this summer rather than letting go on a free transfer next year, because that would be a calamity, if we let David De Gea go on a free transfer next year. And it did initially say the other day in the press that PSG were planning to sign David De Gea on a free transfer. So then looking at it, they could offer him a bigger salary. But now reportedly PSG are willing to put a bid in around £60 million for David De Gea. But David De Gea, as we all know, has been a great servant to the club. He's been here 8 years. He has made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions as David De Gea. He's won everything here domestically and hasn't really put a step out of line, in this 8-year period. Okay, towards the back end of the season, he was making quite a few costly mistakes. But I think the main factor reason why that happened, I think it's something to do mainly, with the contractual situation. But Manchester United have been in talks, over quite a while. And we do know that David De Gea, is worth more than £60 million. I'd say at full value for the goalkeeper, he's worth £100 million, is De Gea. But obviously we're not going to get that for him, because obviously he's in the last year of his contract, is De Gea. But he's been a fantastic servant to the club, as I said. Obviously, that Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. Obviously, Real Madrid were on the verge of getting De Gea, back in 2015. But due to a fax machine, the deal, of course, never currently materialised. So David De Gea is 28 years of age, and he's still got a lot of years ahead of him, but potentially the best goalkeeper in the world. But does look realistically now he will be leaving Manchester United, and he will be probably making the move to Paris Saint-Germain. So and this has been another problem with Man United. We've let two. Yeah. This has been another problem with Man United. We've let far too many players' contracts run down, of course. We've let Ander Herrera, go on a free transfer. Rashford's in the final year of his contract. Matt's coming into an end of his deal. So we've let far too many players' contracts run down. So De Gea now looking like he's going to be leaving, because reports are coming out, including TalkSport, saying that he has turned down a final contract offer from Manchester United. So as I did say, we'll need a replacement for him if he goes, of course. We can get around £60 or £70 million for him, of course. So that's going to help us with our transition. And maybe another reason maybe why David De Gea may want to leave, because maybe he wants to be up there challenging and winning a Super. And obviously Manchester United had a number of years off currently doing this. But if he leaves, we're going to need a replacement for him, because obviously the likes of Sergio Romero, in my opinion, he's not yet reliable enough to become our number one goalkeeper. We've got the likes of Dean Henderson, of course, but he hasn't really got the experience yet. Dean Henderson, I think he's on loan at Sheffield United, is he at the moment, of what I saw. And I know we've got the likes of Lee Grant, but I think he will leave the club in the summer, so we're going to need a replacement for him. And you all know, was it 3 or 4 days ago, there was a lot of talks about Andrea, what's his name, Andrea or Nana, that Ajax goalkeeper, if I pronounce his name right. Obviously only 23 years of age, very, very young, has had 3 years worth of experience as Ajax's starting goalkeeper, of course. Obviously, used to play for Barcelona in their youth academy, of course, this goalkeeper, and I don't really know much about him, to be quite honest with you. It did initially say Manchester United had around a £35 million bid turned down for him. I think he's initially valued by Ajax at around 35 or 40 million pounds, so we have identified him as a possible replacement for David De Gea. But yeah, I don't really know much about him, so that's the latest news to give you an update on that. And there's news coming out about Real Madrid's Isco. Now, reportedly, Manchester United and Manchester City are interested in Real Madrid's Isco. I don't know I think Man United and Manchester City are waiting for a decision from Real Madrid, if they're willing to sell him or not. Obviously, it's going to cost you over like £100 million, is Isco, of course, if Real Madrid are willing to, sell him off. Obviously, he's enjoyed a very, very difficult season throughout the course of this season. He's enjoyed a difficult time as Isco, especially, when Santiago Solari was the Real Madrid's manager. He was finding game time very, very difficult, but he has been on the bench quite a lot of times this season as Isco. But obviously Isco's a very, very good player. He's an attacking midfielder. He has still got a lot of development in him as Isco, but he's 27 years of age. He has won a lot of silver with Real Madrid, including 4 Champions Leagues, but it's the likes of United and City that are currently in for him, of course. And yeah, but he's going to cost you around £100 million. I don't see how he would fit in a Manchester United system, if he was to currently come to the club. But he's going to cost you about at least £100 million, is Isco. Obviously, he has spent the entirety of his career in Spain so far. Obviously, obviously he's been at Real Madrid since 2013. So I think he's been at Real Madrid now about 6 years. As Isco made 277 appearances for Real Madrid. Obviously, the former Malaga player, the former Valencia player. I think Real Madrid got him for around just under £30 million. What?
You might not be picking you up later on. Your appointment's at 3:30.
Alright.
Is there any washing in that bedroom?
No.
That's 2 nights, son, up at my dad's. I've only got tonight, tomorrow and Friday. Thank God. It'll soon fly by, then I'll be back home. Yeah, I said to rung you last night, but you didn't answer your phone.
Yeah. Yeah, but talking about Isco, yes, I don't see how he'd fit the Manchester United system, of course. But yeah, they got him from Malaga for was it just under £30 million, back in 2013. So yeah, he's been at Real Madrid 6 seasons as Isco. He's become an integral part of their team. I think Zinedine Zidane, would like to keep Isco, of course. But I'd rather spend that £100 million on Joe Felix. Joe Felix is a lot younger, than Isco. Joe Felix is only 19 years of age. Got a hell of a lot of development in him, of course. And I think if Joe Felix, was to come to the Premier League, it would take his career to the next level, and I do believe it would be the next step for Joe Felix. Manchester United now, we have stepped our interest up in Joe Felix. After reports have said Man United have opened up talks, to sign Joe Felix from Benfica. It said we are prepared to meet his £100 million buyout clause he's got in his deal with Benfica, but he's primarily an attacking midfielder. He can also play as a winger. He can also play as a striker, but I think he's predominantly an attacking midfielder, is Joe Felix, and I do believe he can emulate into one of the best players in the world. I don't think he can emulate into like a Ronaldo or a Messi or a Neymar, but I still believe he would be the right solution for Manchester United. It came out saying that Man United instructed scouts yet again, to watch him over the course of the weekend, but Man United have been scouting him for a long, long time now, based on his fantastic performances. He's yet to make his senior debut for Portugal. Obviously, this has only been his first season in his senior squad with Benfica. Liverpool had a bid turned down for him in January. I think the likes of City have been in for him. I think also Real Madrid have also been in for Joe Felix. So I'm a big fan of the player. I'd love him to get recommended, to come to Manchester United. Of course, 19 years of age, has still got a lot of years ahead of him. So I'd rather spend the £100 million on Joe Felix than I would Isco. So I don't see how Isco would fit in our system. Obviously, Isco's a hell of a lot more experience, but obviously looking at it, Joe Felix has got a lot more development in him than currently Isco. But I still really, really like Isco. I think he's a really, really good player. Of course, it would be good for him to come to the Premier League, and I think he's got all the capabilities and attributes to succeed in the Premier League as Isco. But from my perspective, I would prefer Joe Felix, to currently come in. Talking about Bruno Fernandes, he's another player I'd love to come to Manchester United. Obviously, he's been on Manchester United's agenda for quite some time now, primarily an attacking midfielder, and I do believe Bruno Fernandes, would would be the right replacement, you know, for Paul Pogba. Bruno Fernandes, of course, I think Sporting Lisbon said they want around 60 million for him. Obviously, we've got the financial power, of course, to meet his 60 million pound valuation. Obviously, City have been in for him, you know, we've been in for him. But yeah, I'd love him to come. He's got goals in him, he's got assists in him. You know, we need creativeness and depth in that midfield, and he would bring that, you know, to Manchester United with Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, I think he's got all the capabilities and attributes, you know, to succeed in the Premier League, and I do believe it would take Bruno Fernandes' career to the next level. You know, Bruno Fernandes is 24 years of age, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. I think his initial release clause is around 85 or 86 million pounds. Manchester United have been in talks, you know, with his representatives, of course, you know, over, you know, a summer transfer. But I'd love, you know, Bruno Fernandes, you know, to come to Manchester United. Still under the contract till 2023 with Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, you know, he had a lot of experience playing in Italy when he was younger with the likes of San Pandora and underneath. He did initially say, going back a couple of weeks ago, that City were in talks, you know, with Sporting Lisbon over around a £47 million deal for Bruno Fernandes, and he did say City were willing to offer one of their or two of their players as part of the deal. And a player of Bruno Fernandes' calibre, obviously the more attractive option, you know, would be a Manchester City for him. But I still definitely think, you know, Man United are in there for Bruno Fernandes. So I'd love Bruno Fernandes, you know, to come in. I think he'd dramatically improve his in that midfield. He'd bring us them goals that we do need, and he's got a lot of development, you know, still in him as Bruno Fernandes. So I'd love both Bruno Fernandes and Joe Felix. Obviously, they're both Portuguese, and they're both tied up in Portugal very, very well. But I don't see us, you know, getting both of them. And he did say, looking at it, it cost us around 150 million pounds to get Bruno Fernandes and Joe Felix. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is more experienced than Joe Felix because, you know, Joe Felix is 19, Bruno Fernandes is 24, and Bruno Fernandes is obviously, you know, 5 years older than Joe Felix. But I'd love both players, you know, to come to Manchester United. Talking about Paul Pogba now, as you all know, reports were coming out about him yesterday saying that Manchester United, Solskjaer Manchester United were willing to offer him the captaincy, were willing to offer him the captain's armband, you know, to convince him to stay at the club. Paul Pogba, of course. I think it didn't initially mention Ashley Young, was it, or something like that, of what I heard. I didn't read the full thing, but it did say initially, you know, we're willing to offer Paul Pogba the captain's armband, you know, to convince him to stay at the club and for him to snub and move to Real Madrid this summer. I don't think that's going to be enough, offering Paul Pogba the captain's armband, you know, to convince him to stay at the club, because obviously he's destined to make the move to Real Madrid. Obviously, Paul Pogba has bluntly made this clear. He obviously is unsatisfied with Manchester United, and I think, you know, he did say Man United would lower our asking price. I think now we want around 138 million pounds. It did say initially, you know, we want around 150 or 160 million pounds for Paul Pogba, but obviously Real Madrid are not willing to meet that figure, of course. I think it did say Paul Pogba is willing to take some kind of a pay cut, and I think his wages his wage demands are going to be lowered, so he can make his move to Real Madrid, because obviously his 30 million a year wage demands that he was demanding do not fit the wage structure at Real Madrid, of course. So I think his wage demands are set to be lowered, of course. And yeah, so I think he's going to be making a move to Real Madrid. Is Paul Pogba. He's unhappy with Manchester United, and maybe one of the main factor reasons why he wants to leave. He wants to be up there competing, he wants to be in Champions League football and that. And obviously Manchester United, you know, cannot offer him this, of course. And maybe he wants to be playing monster better players, and he's not getting this Manchester United. And Paul Pogba, you know, to be quite honest, you know, we paid 89 million pounds for him. You know, we saw glimpses of his best form, you know, in that 3-month period, you know, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager, and we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba, you know, when Ander Herrera was playing. So that just emphasises how much of an impact, you know, Ander Herrera, you know, did make in that midfield, because it freed up Pogba, and that's when he expressed himself, that's when he was scoring goals, that's when he was providing, and that's when Paul Pogba was in scintillating form. But Paul Pogba, you know, as you all know, is 26 years of age, is in his prime, you know, he has still got a lot of years ahead of him, but at least in the last 3 or 4 weeks, you know, his agent Raiola has been in the process, you know, to try and get him his dream move to Real Madrid. But as I did say, it doesn't always, you know, guarantee you success, doesn't always get you in that commanding position, you know, getting them Galactico players, you know, spending big on players, as Manchester United have got a history of doing. You know, a prime example, Pogba 89 million. We've paid 89 million for Pogba. Where's it got us? Nowhere. You know, 75 million for Lukaku. Where's it got us? Nowhere. So always spending big on players doesn't always necessarily mean it gets you in that commanding position, of course, where you do currently want to be. But Paul Pogba, as you all know, was heavily linked to a move for Manchester United last year. There was a lot of speculation last year about him leaving based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. He was linked with his former club Juventus. He was also linked with a move to Barcelona. So going back, you know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, you know, Paul Pogba, or it might have been longer now, Paul Pogba was talking a hell of a lot about Real Madrid, you know, about his dream and that to play for them. So that just indicates he doesn't want to be at Man United. Obviously, you know, Zinedine Zidane is a big admirer of the player, and yeah, so Zinedine Zidane, you know, does want to get a deal over the line for him. As I said, Paul Pogba's still got 3 years left on his contract. Solskjaer did say he's still convinced that Paul Pogba, will be at Manchester United next season, but I think he will be definitely going. But I think we could still get around 120 or 130 million pounds for him. So with that money we raised from the departure of Paul Pogba, we could get 2 players there with that money, and I do believe Bruno Fernandes, would be the right replacement for him. Obviously Isco, there has been talks of him, as I just said, Isco, but I don't think he'd fit our system, to be quite honest with you, with Isco. So I wouldn't really, bring him in to Manchester United, Isco. And as you all know, there has been a lot of talks about, Atletico Madrid's Thomas Partey. I think there's been a lot of reports going on about this in the last couple of days, saying that we've been interested. Also, Arsenal have expressed their interest in Thomas Partey. Obviously, I've spent the majority of his career with Atletico Madrid. Reportedly, has been very, very impressive throughout the course of this season with Atletico Madrid as Thomas Partey, and he's available for a reasonable figure. He's 25 years of age. I think he's primarily a central defensive midfielder, and I do believe we need a defensive midfielder. We need I think, Matic isn't good enough. He's not reliable enough. He's too slow, too ineffective in that midfield. Okay, in a couple of the Nemanja Matic's games, he has proven. That he can play well in Nemanja Matic, but he's aging up. As I said, he's well Premier League proven, but he's aging up and he's too slow. And I do believe we need a CDM. And obviously, we saw Fellaini leave in January, so I think we need a CDM. So do you believe that Thomas Partey would be the right solution? As I said, he's 25 years of age, has still got a lot of development in him, but I don't really know much about him. But he's available for a reasonable figure. I think his initial release clause in his contract term is around £43 million. But the likes of Man United and Arsenal have currently been in for him, and he did say Man United were willing, were ready to trigger his current release clause. So yeah, a lot of talks about him, going on in the last couple of days. And so as I did say, what else to update you on? I'll give you my update, was it yesterday, in regards to Juan Mata. Obviously, we know that Juan Mata is coming to an end of his current contract with Manchester United. Now, it came out in the press yesterday. I was actually give you an update on saying now that Newcastle have entered the race for Juan Mata. And obviously, I think Rafael Benitez has identified him as his number one target. Rafael Benitez wants to sign Juan Mata, and I think Newcastle are keen on getting him on a free transfer. But it's unknown whether Rafael Benitez is going to be at Newcastle next season, but Newcastle reportedly are interested in him. Obviously, I think Man United are willing to offer him a 1-year extension, Juan Mata, but I think Juan Mata is going to be leaving the club, even though I'd like him to stay at the club for another season, because he has been very, very consistent for Manchester United as Juan Mata. But obviously, he's aging up now. He has lost that yard of pace. I think Juan Mata now he's 31. Obviously, he isn't first choice anyway. Juan Mata is basically now at Manchester United as a squad player. But I think from Juan Mata's perspective, would he? I think from Juan Mata's perspective, in my opinion, I think he'd probably be happy, to make a return back to Spain, because he had a lot of experience playing in Spain when he was younger, and he's Spanish himself. But with the likes of Real Madrid and Valencia, Juan Mata, and obviously he's had about 7-8 years now of experience in the Premier League under his belt. Obviously, when he was younger, he had 2.5-3 years with Chelsea. Obviously now he's had 5 years with Manchester United. He has made over 200 appearances for us in all competitions as Juan Mata, but he has been a very, very consistent player. But I do, he did say Barcelona have been in talks, to get him on a free transfer. Obviously, if he goes to Barcelona, Barcelona aren't going to see him as a replacement for their line on Messi. He's just going to be used as a squad player at Barcelona. Is Juan Mata, but I do believe he's probably going to be leaving the club. I think he's set to be on. Is he on about 160 or 170,000 pounds a week at Manchester United? Juan Mata, but yeah, will he continue applying his trade in the Premier League by going to Newcastle, or will he make a return back to Spain? I'm not too sure, but it has said that Newcastle have entered the race for him. Obviously, as the big breaking news was coming out yesterday in regards to Daniel James from Swansea. Reportedly, Daniel James has agreed personal terms with Manchester United. I think an initial fee of around £15 million has been currently agreed. As I did say, it's a surprise solution, it's a low expectation, it's a cheap acquisition, but £15 million is a reasonable figure. But as I did say, has Daniel James got the ability, has he got the minerals, to make it to the highest level? And that is the question. And can he exceed expectation levels at Manchester United? Because obviously he hasn't played to the highest level yet. Obviously, he is a championship player. He did say Brighton came in right at the final hurdle for Daniel James, but I think Daniel James it basically revealed from his own perspective his preferred destination is Manchester United. So he's obviously our first signing for this summer, and he's only got a year left on his deal with Swansea. But there's been quite a few other teams that have been in for him. I think Everton have expressed their interest in. Obviously, Leeds were on the verge of getting him back in January, but he's only very, very young. He's 21 years of age. age. You know, he has still got a lot of years ahead of him, and I hope it works out. And he's primarily a winner, is Daniel James. He's supposed to be more effective from that left-hand side. Can play him on the right, but he's supposed to be more effective from that left-hand side. He can play as an attacking midfielder as well, but he mainly gets put on that left-hand side, Daniel James. That's where you see the best of him. But I have got some reservations about this Daniel James. You know, he's not really good in the air. When it comes to his defensive contribution, I've got concerns about him, but he's really, really fast. He's good in terms of an attacking intent. He's really, really good, and he can score goals. But he's done well this season for Swansea. I think he's played like over 30 odd games, but he's looking likely he's going to be coming to Manchester United. And the stories, as you all know, you know, broke out about this earlier on in the month. You know, at Manchester United, you know, were close to agreeing a deal for around £15 million for Daniel James. So that is very, very cheap, of course. So yeah, he's got a hell of a lot of development in him, and I hope he can exceed expectation levels at Manchester United. I've got concerns because we're getting him from a lower division, but you never know, he could come to Manchester United and do well. But now this is going to take his career to the next level, you know, coming to a club like us, and I hope it currently works out for Daniel James. Talking about Ryan Sessegnon, as you all know, in the last 4 or 5 days, you know, Manchester United have been in for Ryan Sessegnon from Fulham. I really, really like Ryan Sessegnon. I really, really do. Obviously, I think he's going to be leaving Fulham. Obviously, Ryan Sessegnon made it clear that he's reluctant to spend another season in the Championship. Obviously, Fulham are in the Championship next season, after obviously, you know, getting relegated from the Premier League. After only spending 1 season in the top flight, I think you'd get Ryan Sessegnon for a reasonable figure. I think you'd probably get him for around £35 or £40 million. He has been on Tottenham's agenda, you know, for quite some time now, as Ryan Sessegnon. He has been linked with Manchester United in the past quite a few times. I think also, you know, Juventus are in there for Ryan Sessegnon. I think Manchester United are the only club that have made any kind of initial contact with Fulham, you know, regarding over the potential move for Ryan Sessegnon. Only 19 years of age. Obviously, so far has spent the entirety of his career with Fulham. He's had 3 years worth of experience in their senior squad, and he's got a lot of development in. And I think he's progressed up the ranks with Fulham fantastically well. He's now in the senior squad. He's made over 100 odd appearances in the senior squad as Ryan Sessegnon. Only got a year left on his deal with Fulham, but obviously now has had a year's worth of experience in the Premier League, you know, under his belt. Obviously had it in the Championship this season before, but he's been absolutely fantastic for Fulham. But yeah, 19, still got a lot of years ahead of him, of course, and actually, you know, became the first player to be born in the 2000s, you know, to score a goal in a first team game. But yeah, Manchester United have been linked to him quite a few times. He can play as a left back. He can also play as a left winger, and I think he's primarily a left winger. Is Ryan Sessegnon, but I don't see him coming to Manchester United because obviously our move now is imminent for Daniel James, and he's obviously primarily a left winger. So I don't see us getting Ryan Sessegnon. I probably believe he'll end up, you know, going to Tottenham or something like that. But we do know Jadon Sancho has obviously, you know, been the club's #1 priority target, you know, for a very, very long time. But I don't see us, you know, getting a deal over the line, you know, for Jadon Sancho. And I think the main reason why we're set to miss out on Jadon Sancho this summer is because obviously we failed to get in Champions League football for next season. But he was the club's #1 priority target for a very, very long time. You know, Manchester United, you know, were prepared to meet his £100 million valuation. We're prepared to meet his £100 million valuation because we've got the financial power to meet that. But Jadon Sancho maybe wants to be in Champions League football, and I do believe if Jadon Sancho was to make a return to the Premier League, I think it would help him with his developing process. It would create him a better platform for Jadon Sancho. He's 19. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. You know, he can play between the byline. He can score goals. He can put crosses into the box, and I do believe he'd be the right solution for Manchester United. But he was the club's #1 prize target. But I think Jadon Sancho is intending on spending at least another season with Dortmund. I think Borussia Dortmund are very convinced he will remain at Borussia Dortmund. So looking likely he will continue applying his trade next season with Borussia Dortmund in Germany. But obviously he used to play for Man City, where he did serve a couple of seasons, but never really got the opportunity. And this is the main reason why he left City, and of course went to Borussia Dortmund, of course. So yeah, we're set to miss out on Jadon Sancho. He was the club's #1 priority target, but now obviously it's Koulibaly that's the club's #1 priority target. But yeah, as I said, we are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear out this summer. As I said, we know Valencia's leaving the club. You know, we're going to need a replacement at right back, you know, for Valencia. You know, we're going to need an upgrade to Ashley Young. And Ashley Young's another player I want to leave the club, but he's not going to leave the club this summer. He'll still be here next season. I think, you know, when his 1 year extension expires, I think he'll probably go then, Ashley Young, because obviously by the time then anyway, he'll be coming to an end of his playing career. And I do believe we need a cover up for Diego Dalot. So there's been been a lot of talks about Wan-Bissaka going on, and Crystal Palace reportedly want around £60 million for him. Wan-Bissaka is now regarded as one of the best right backs in the Premier League, and Wan-Bissaka is only 21 years of age. Obviously, he's had a year of experience under his belt in the senior squad with Crystal Palace over the year, because he only broke into the Crystal Palace first team in February of 2018. Wan-Bissaka, but yeah, he's regarded as one of the best right backs in the Premier League. I think he'd be the right solution for Manchester United. He has still got 3 years left on his contract, but he has obviously been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets, and his defensive capabilities are very, very good. So I do believe he'd be the right solution at right back. On Wan-Bissaka, reports came out, was it quite a while back, last month or something like that, if I can remember rightly, saying that Wan-Bissaka is committed to Palace. He's intending on spending another season with Crystal Palace, but so far he has spent the entirety of his career with Crystal Palace. Initially was a winger when he was a lot younger, but obviously then got rotated as a fullback. Now he fulfills his position fantastically well. So I'd love Wan-Bissaka to come in. He's also British as well. So yeah, I'd love him also to come to Manchester United. As you all know, reports came out the other day. There were good news of what was going on in regards to Nicolas Pepe from Lille. He's been a potential Manchester United target, and obviously he's the obvious candidate for that right wing, because obviously he's primarily a winner again. 23 years of age, got a lot of development in him, and I think he'd flourish better if he came to the Premier League, where would Nicolas Pepe. It's confirmed that the Lille bosses actually confirmed that he's going to be leaving Lille, is Nicolas Pepe. I think he's initially rated at around 69 or 70 million pounds. It did say Manchester United were eyeing a move of around 45 million pounds for him. It did say the other day Man United were in negotiations with Lille, to try and sign Nicolas Pepe, but he has attracted interest, from quite a few clubs as Nicolas Pepe. I think the likes of Arsenal have been linked to him at least in the last couple of months. Liverpool have been there for him, Bayern Munich, PSG, Real Madrid I think have been interested in him. So there's a number of clubs across Europe that are interested in Nicolas Pepe. But 23, he's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, and I do believe he's got all the capabilities and the attributes, to come and succeed in the Premier League, and it would take his career to the next level. Obviously, Nicolas Pepe so far spent the entirety of his career with Lille. He has been at Lille a couple of seasons now. I think he's still got a contract with them until 2022. So yeah, he's the obvious candidate for the right wing. Very, very young, and I'd love him to come to Manchester United. But whether we get a deal over the line for him or not, I do not know. And we do know one player that's leaving for certain, and of course that's Alexis Sanchez. Well, I'm almost certain he's going to be leaving. Obviously, we can't get rid of him permanently, based on his substantial wages. Obviously, Sanchez is on 400 grand a week, rising up to a potential 500 grand a week, based on image rights, based on the bonuses and that. It rises up to about 500 grand a week, and we'd love to get rid of him permanently, but we can't because no teams can afford to pay his wages off. So Manchester United are willing to let him go on a long season loan, and we're willing to pay half his wages off, and willing to let him go, to either Inter Milan or Juventus, because they are the two clubs that are interested in Alexis Sanchez. Obviously, Inter Milan and Juventus, have been in negotiation with Sanchez's agent the other week. Sanchez's agent, of course, was currently in Italy, but Sanchez hasn't exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United, as we thought he would have done. To be quite honest, reflecting back what he did at Arsenal, he was really, really good at Arsenal. He played under Pep Guardiola at Barcelona when he was younger, and since he's come to Manchester United, he's only been here 16 months. He's sustained quite a few injuries, so he has become injury prone, since he's come here. But Sanchez doesn't have a future anywhere at the club. He's 30 years of age. He has lost that yard of pace, but he's just been so inconsistent for Manchester United, and I think his wages are having a really, really bad effect on the football club. So it would be very, very beneficial, if we'd get him out, and we could get him to Italy. Obviously, he had experience of playing in Italy, when he was younger with underneath, did Alexis Sanchez. So yeah, there has been a lot of talks about that going. I don't know if more things is updated about it. I will look that up, but there was talk saying that he's going to be either going to Inter Milan or Juventus, and it's them two teams that are fighting it out for Alexis Sanchez. So yeah, I do want him out of Manchester United, and I do believe the likes of Darmian and Rojo are going to be going. That's good news, so we can cash in for them. We could get around £30 million, for Matteo Darmian and Marcus Rojo. I want Smalling and Phil Jones to leave the club, but I don't think they're gonna. I think they're more than likely going to be here next season. Bad business for Manchester United, giving Smalling and Jones new long-term contracts. Obviously, they've been two long-serving players. Smalling's been here 9 seasons. Jones has been here 8 seasons, and comparing Smalling and Jones, I do believe Smalling is a better defender than Phil Jones. But they've been two long-serving players here, and this is why I did say we probably need 2 central defenders, of course. And and going back to what I said in the beginning, I'd love Ligt to come to Manchester United, but I think from his own preference, he's destined to make the move to Barcelona. I think he's made the admission that he prefers the move to Barcelona. So so it's looking like he's still going to be going to Barcelona, but Man United are still working hard to get Ligt. City are reportedly interested in Liverpool Liverpool have obviously, been interested in. Reports came out saying Liverpool have held negotiations with De Ligt over the summer transfer from Ajax. So, this, I don't know. I probably think he'll still end up, going out to Barcelona, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. I've obviously given you the news about De Gea now. Reportedly, he's turned down a final contract offer from Manchester United as De Gea, and this means now I think his future has been clarified, and now I think he's going to be making the move to PSG. PSG are willing to put a bid in of around £60 million. They're willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. Man United are not willing to meet that. So, yeah, so it's looking likely, De Gea is going to be out of the door. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.